And hey, we're recording again. Welcome back to the Alexandrian Codex. I'm Alex, this is Hearts of Iron 4. Old World Blues mod, playing as Vault City. Vault City. We are sticking true to our vaulty roots, going with the intellectuals, going with First Citizen Lynette, who does not have a descriptor on here. Oh, that's fine. Can I core... Okay, I'm coring a state. I don't know what that means. This is... Auto-coring is on. Yes, and I'm coring a state. Cool. Coring is very, very poorly explained. Okay, no, I'm coring a state. So, minus 25% political power. That should mean that eventually we will get a core on Tumult Station and or the Badlands. Core territories have the benefit of giving your entire... Oh, here, take a look. This not being a core state means only 2% of the population is conscripted. Fucking horrible. Just by base. After population control gets up to, 12% being available, but that's still awful. The workforce that we've been recruiting for decades has, by and large, been desperate souls, anyone willing to sign those papers and make that deal. Now, however, we find ourselves overwhelmed with applications, and in a unique position to demand only skilled laborers. It would reduce the size of our workforce, but make men and women within the Vault City much happier. Skilled servants gives construction speed, stability, more support, plus 5%. Wow, really? Unskilled servants doesn't improve recruitable population. Could have fooled me. Okay, unskilled servants lower stability but gives better construction speed. Nope, skilled servants. That's a gimme. Service hours. We've been overworking our servants for decades now. Notably, our physical laborers who do tasks far away from the city proper, working as scavengers and resource gatherers. Working them as hard as we do has allowed us to thrive, but discontentment among the workers is running high. Do we reduce work hours? The answer is, it depends on what the modifier is. Probably. Ideologically, I'd say yes, but depends on what the game says. They might be making progress here. It's very hard to tell. Even if they do get through here, the infrastructure continues to suck, and the terrain continues to be hills and mountains and forests, which is not easy to fight through. So this should be draining a fair amount of manpower from the Troll Warren, though they don't need very much because their troops are weird. Very, very tough. We don't have good enough intel to take a look at them, but from experience I know they're very tough, very weird. Playing a isolationist state like Vault City or really the Brotherhood of Steel are a great example as well, is a little weird in a Hearts of Iron game. In the Fallout lore and setting, it makes sense. They go out, get what they need, come back, and don't really try to exert any direct control as we would understand in the function of a nation state doing, like the New California Republic. But this game is all about nation states expanding and competing and overcoming one another. So Vault City, what makes them so powerful is the exclusivity of their technology. When you start creating a country and an empire, you have to worry about internal stability and internal politics. You don't have to just worry about extracting wealth from far away and bringing it close, though that's a imperial trait. I don't know, it's fun, but some things about Hearts of Iron don't super well capture the vibe of the post-apocalyptic setting so well. This is just World War II in the post-apocalypse. I'm not deriding it. I like the mod quite a bit. Just saying it's an awkward intersection of design and aesthetic more than anything else. I think I can probably speak better or speak from a more educated position after I eventually do a playthrough of Fallout Tactics about how former Fallout strategy products have succeeded and failed, and the approaches they've taken, and the way that other designers have taken this challenge of a post-apocalyptic setting, which comes weighed down with some interesting restrictions and God, what is the word I'm constraints, not just constrictions, uh, with a genre that's typically a lot more focused on near limitless resources, scarcity of resources, of manpower, of time, of energy, of food, of water is a huge uh, oh my god, theme in post-apocalyptic settings. Typically, if you are playing a war game, if you are playing a grand strategy game, it is assumed that your society is able to get enough food, get enough water, produce the means to fight a war, to like have a standing army, to train that standing army, to outfit that standing army, to have the logistics and supplies to field that standing army successfully. And truth be told, fucking Arroyo would not have hundreds or thousands or even dozens of standing troops. They're hunter-gatherers, and same thing with all these other little tribes in here. It doesn't blend super well into the game. New California Republic would still only have what, like 1% of its population be in its armed forces, maybe 5% at the absolute most. I mean, here, the population of the United States, modern day, is, as of today, 325.7 million. United States Armed Forces total number is about 1 million. So in the United States today, which is a heavily militarized state, less than 1% of the population are in the armed forces. The New California Republic. New California Republic. New Californian Republic, whatever. Fallout Wiki. The population of the New California Republic is well over 700,000. 700,000, that's it. With a population that small, you by no fucking means should be able to have a standing army of 20 to 25,000. That's fucking absurd. Maybe 7,000. Maybe. And that's like absolute ceiling limit. So some goofiness comes in to try to make this work. Our servants are more than overworked. They're being worked to death. Their life expectancy is at an all-time low. The opposite of what they asked for when they came and applied for servanthood. This abuse was once overlooked, but these days, anyone can see at a glance that we're abusing the hopes and dreams of wastelanders. A simple change of policy could reduce the concerns of so many of these people, but then again, what's the opinion of a few wastelanders really worth? So work until you drop, stability, but resource gain efficiency plus 10%, that's garbage. Or half of that and stability. I remember before stability was reworked, these had different balance. Now it's just like being a dick and overworking the servants or not giving them rights is just bad. Stability affects way, way too many things to not be a primary focus. Okay, so what do I want to do? I don't need that. More civilian workshops could be nice. Yeah, let's go for purifying the flock. We've determined that much of why the Pale Folk are the way they are is due to the heavily irradiated sources of water. Purification process, while costly, should free up vast reservoirs of water. And water is something wastelanders are always willing to pay top dollar for. There we go. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the team that's been working on this mod, but that manpower discrepancy, that population discrepancy between populations established and maintained in Fallout lore compared to the representative populations in this game do not line up. I know it's a little unfair to be so harsh about it, and I don't mean to be, but that's a hell of a large percentage of your population that you're militarizing there. Even... yeah. I think manpower in Hearts of Iron 4 is one of the things I like the least, because it's not actually based directly off of the population of a given area. It is approximately, but only approximately. A lot of the modifiers, and I'm talking about vanilla Hearts of Iron here, not even modified Hearts of Iron. A lot of the modifiers that give recruitable population are kind of bullshit and nonsense, and really only things that happen due to outstanding circumstances. Like the Soviet Union conscripted as many people as they did out of necessity, and so did Germany near the end of World War II, and so did the United States at certain points, etc., etc., etc. But just because, by necessity, certain countries fielded larger armies does not mean that they were the only ones capable of fielding armies that large. Other countries, if put in similar states of stress or duress, could have fielded armies approximately of the same numerical strength. The United States, it's a very popular image when here in the United States we think about or talk about the Cold War. Now the red waves, talking about like just these few elite quality American troops against like the red horde of the Soviet Union. But the truth of the situation was, although they may have had more people in their armed forces at any given point, our population, at least towards the end of the Cold War, was significantly higher. So it's a little silly projecting this image of like, oh, they're a swarm, they'll wash over us, when we had the numbers. Now, if somebody were to do the same sort of comparison to us and the People's Republic of China today, well, yeah, of course. But the same sort of thing could be held true for India. I don't know. I don't really have a point. Just that proper representation of population and manpower is a very difficult thing to do in games and in mods, especially so when they are so important to game balance, game mechanics. And I feel as though Paradox does a pretty good job, but still there's some weird, uncanny shit going on at times. Renovate downtown. Downtown is the heart of our economy proper, and houses the vast majority of our skilled labor and services. Renovation for it is near constant, with much of our yearly budget going to expansion and subsidies. Okay, I clicked OK on that, but it didn't go away. It was mildly terrifying. I would love it, beloved mod authors, if for coring state this were ticked down, like it said so many days left of this, but or even gets coring event period 2 period T? Is that a, I guess it's a T? Like if it gave a mean time to happen, or I don't know. That could use a serious rework. But a lot of the features in this mod right now that look weird and outdated, these actions in particular, are just because they're holdovers from an older version of the mod. In fact, the original version of the mod made public. They're very smart people, and I'm looking forward to what they do with the mod from here on out. It's kind of comforting to see popular mods and ambitious mods take weeks and months off without releasing more content, because it makes me feel a lot less self-conscious about how long it can be on my mods between me finding the time to work on them. Of course, my mods are generally smaller in scope, but still. The courtyard has grown into a sprawling city in its own right, housing thousands of souls. It's also incredibly out of date for its glorified ghetto with crumbling infrastructure. All right. Can I double the size of our army? Oh, I probably could. Do I want to double the size of our army? Now that's a much better question. What is your organization versus weight? Your weight is 3. I want to check out our supply map mode. Wow. Some of this weight is just horrible. 1? Good God. That's abysmal. Yeah, that's fucking abysmal. Oh, you're bringing the Enclave back. I don't love that. That's gonna make you hard to kill, and Yakuza are always kind of hard to kill. I'm trying to choose between doubling the size of our army, which, as you can see, I'm doing just to get a full 24 stack going on here, and making our divisions bigger. But if I make our divisions bigger, they'll eat up more supply, and what I really want are more width, more strategic width for our army. I feel like for a lot of the factions in this game, particularly those with focus trees, they're a good start, but they're only a start. Like, they're very shallow and they're over kind of quickly. And frankly, not every goddamn focus tree needs a bonus for vehicles and aircraft, and oh, maybe you dodged the bullet here. Maybe you don't have one talking about boats. Nope, yeah, you don't have boats. But not everything needs a bonus for aircraft and vehicles. It's some people, definitely, but not everyone. Security station monitoring local radio waves and housing much of the guard. The security station is the closest thing we have to a military headquarters, and as such, must be a proper fortress. Oh, I cannot wait for this to get expanded. There's new content, should be Mexico-ish, is what rumor on the grapevine is. I honestly, what I want to see is more depth added to the Washington Brotherhood and the Troll Warren. Like, help the AI out by giving them more developed focus trees. And I know this focus tree is pretty fucking good, but help the AI go to war with its neighbors more actively. Hoi 4 is a game that doesn't... Its dynamic AI isn't the best thing, and increasingly when I complain or criticize the performance of AI in a mod or AI in general, the underlying complaint is like, you know, the Paradox AI, not that great in a lot of the titles that they release. It's pretty good, but it leaves you wanting, or at least it leaves me wanting more. Wanting more intelligent, thoughtful, conniving, I don't know, clever AI. Oh, expanded the wall. That sounds awful. Do any of these give us... Okay, no, it's not important. I'm gonna go down here. I'm trying to get to Gem of the Wasteland. Courtyard medical regulation. Many of the people that come into the courtyard come seeking the trickle-down effect of our medical capabilities. We can't offer each and every person that asks... Wait, what? We can't offer each and every person that asks a replacement limb. Boy, you fucked up. That sentence hard. We can't offer a replacement limb to each and every person that asks, is how that should be phrased. Or that asks for one. Our ability make promises and quietly sterilize those too mutated to be of further use means we have excellent population control. Oh man, you just butchered the grammar in that sentence. Our ability to make promises and quietly sterilize those that are too mutated to be of further use is an excellent method of population control. It needs some touching up. That's all I'm saying. More laser muskets, I guess. Yeah. Having a huge reserve of these would not be a bad thing. How's that coming along? We're only a month out of the power armor. Dope. Alright, and we will have to start building something new here soon. This will give me a lot, but yeah, that should be fine. No, fuck it. we don't need that. Let's get another one there and another one there. Hold the fucking door. Yeah, that should be that. So we now have scavenge power armor. Still 2 years at a time to do anything involving that, but I probably will. Let's go for common energy weapons, just to get things a little bit better. Production queue, let's switch this one over to scavenge power armor. It's going to be quite some time until this is viable. We have quite a bit more arms workshops to plop down. As well and good. 1, 2, 3. What did that give us? Monthly population +5. Okay, courtyard draft. The seething hordes in the courtyard are viewed by many as little more than an annoyance, a leech upon our resources. It might be true, but it might be true that more goes into them than they get back, but what they are is a ready pool of manpower, a meat shield against the horrors of the wasteland. Switch over to this, I guess. Yeah. We're not using power armor yet, but I would like to, in the not so far future. We have 24 full divisions, so let's start fabricating on the Antelope tribe, as they should be a pretty easy target. Yeah, and we're having supply problems keeping everybody where they were. Alright, game. I'm assuming someone has... There we go. What? 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 The fuck? Why? What? The Treaty of Colonet. Okay, so the Caesar's Legion and the New California Republic made peace with the Valley Bandits. Alright, the Valley Bandits you were attacking. The Paz Bandits you were attacking. Navajo Nation you were attacking. Murtaugh was... I'll be real, I don't know. Hangdogs you were attacking. Did they ally? Did they form a weird faction against the two of you? Okay, whatever. I have no idea what the fuck just happened there. That's fine. Weird, but fine. Did I not... Involve city... Update information... Pull that back. Platoon training. Great, dope, wonderful. Give me flare guns, though. Alright. Courtyard draft will be nice. Getting our population higher, but hopefully unnecessary. Do we get you? We'll get access to Klamath. Klamath are ruled by rulers, so that's a possible route of expansion. Security militarization, mill security, training time minus 10%, not bad. The security forces centered around Vault City have long been incapable of acting as a proper military outfit, due in part to fears they might take over the city government, and because before there was never a need to expand rapidly. Now, however, we find ourselves in need of organized training. It kind of touches on what I was talking about. In the lore of the games, I should say, not really need for massive mobilization, except for, I mean, the Brotherhood of Steel are kind of the outlier here. Like, there's some military action by the Brotherhood of Steel occasionally, but it's not like prolonged military campaigns, except for by the New California Republic. Prolonged military campaigns down here in the war ended poorly and were humiliating, and the war against Caesar's Legion was just an embarrassment because New California Republic was fighting people using fucking spears, and they still couldn't win because their infrastructure and industry was so it wasn't regimentalized or organized or standardized enough. Standardization, or lack thereof, in the war is a major problem. Major problem. Yeah, just fuck me up with arms workshops, I guess. If we start needing resources, I'll change that. Automated security? Yeah. While recruitment is a viable option, many within Vault City would rather focus on the production of robotic guardians, due in no small part to their use. Meaning, what? Due in no small part to their use, meaning we don't have to hire and promise anything to the masses in the courtyard. Butchered grammar, just move on. Just... I hope the localization files get some addressing. I know probably the thing I've complained about the most with regard to the Old World Blues mod since it came out was just like it looks like the text, this descriptive text for a lot of things was written once in one sitting, and nobody else ever took a look at it. And in playtesting, like, I don't want to be a dick if the original writers or authors speak or read and write English as a second language. If that's the case, I'm being a majorly insensitive asshole here. But to me, it seems like, and I guess I have the benefit of a heavily academic college education focusing on history and writing is being something very, very important, and clear communication methods being very, very important. Easy for me to be like, dog, fucking edit it. Go back and edit it. Reread your goddamn work and edit it. Put punctuation where you need it. And seriously, all you have to do, if you want to check if your writing parses or not, read it aloud to yourself. It's really easy to scan something, especially if you speed read, and to miss problems in there. But if you slow down, read it aloud to yourself, you start seeing problems as they pop up. Vault City is growing like the cities of old, and it has recently been pointed out that the vast majority of our people live far from our protective fortifications. A new layer of walls must be created to protect that, which we've invested so much in. That one's not bad. It's been recently pointed out by whom? There's a verb there, but there is no noun verbing that verb. Which isn't technically grammatically incorrect, but it is generally poor form to have a verb that's verbing itself, no noun there to accompany it. Yeah, we're gonna fuck up the Antelope tribe. Unfortunately,
hey.
I can't be too sneaky here, but maybe I can. Maybe I can. It'd be delightful if I could. Wow, we're losing. Why are we losing? How are we losing?
Haven't had a decent meal in weeks.
And then double up there. Whoop.
Hey there.
Fucking excuse you. 7 to 12. I think that they just have double the combat width we do. Holy hell, this is embarrassing.
Hello. Hey. Sir.
Go take that. Go take that and end this horrific war. I guess I'll increase the number of divisions, or regiments. Yeah, that was bad. That was, like, real fucking bad. No idea why we were doing so poorly there.
Hey there.
I mean, they're green, so a lot of them are not great in combat, but that was not the problem. The problem was something else. Well, over now. That makes me really have some pause when I'm considering further military action, because that was horrible.
Hello, sir.
Just fucking horrible. Alright, wall expanded, great. Gem of the Wasteland. Who can compare to the utopia that is Vault City? None, nothing. There are none with such innovative thoughts, such magnificent people, and such glorious technology as us. We are the gem of the wasteland, the last true oasis of the old world in a sea of broken, twisted metal. Let it be known to all. Now hold up. This gives 4 building slots in Vault City. Vault City already has 25 of 25 building slots. Does this give us 29? If not, this is a seriously bad focus tree. And I'm, again, not saying this to be mean, but 25 is your hard limit. I'm fairly sure. You cannot go over 25. There might be a problem there. It's occurring to me. 25 being the maximum, huh? That seems awfully familiar to Stellaris. Or similar to Stellaris. I mean, the underlying engine is the same thing, so it might have something to do with that. And this is an older game, so maybe you borrowed some code from that? I don't know. I don't know. It's just Y25. So we have a full line of scavenge power armor going on. I guess we get a second line going on because they're real expensive. And it should behoove us to embrace that. Yeah, move you up more. Yeah, that whole looks fine. We're still coring, huh? Nope, we're done coring. We cannot core because we are now considered a major power. Never mind. They came out about the same time. No, Hoi 4 came out way before Stellaris did. Hearts of Iron 4. Hearts of Iron 4 came out at least 2 years before. A year before. June 2016 for Hearts of Iron 4. Stellaris was May 2016? Jesus Christ, you're right. Wow, why do I feel like this is so much older then? Huh. Weird. Well, okay. then that makes the... Yeah. It's a 20-year-old engine that's been propped up more and more over. Wait, Clausewitz isn't that old, is it? Clausewitz engine. Sengoku was the first game utilizing the Clausewitz 2 engine. Right, but the original Clausewitz engine is still what it's based off of. Yeah. So often a lot of the complaints I have and other people have for the constraints of the games really come down to, well, you have to rewrite the entire engine, and it's very cost prohibitive to do that. But, like, fucking do it. But still, 25 is an interesting consistency. I do not know why 25 is a hard limit there. Yeah. It was largely a graphics update. I think... God, I remember I knew a lot more about what Clausewitz 2 introduced back when it was actually new, but... No, it's been a hot minute since Sengoku came out. Sengoku. Oh, that's not gonna get me what I want. Game. 2011. Ooh, damn. I was fresh out of high school. Game of the Wasteland. Alright. Moment of truth. This is a bad fucking focus tree. Again, not saying this to be mean, but editorial note. This thing that adds 4 building slots to Vault City actually adds 0 building slots to Vault City. So I think that I actually didn't get anything out of that. Vault Station, Gecko Courtyard. No. Vault City's just full now. Okay, so that's full. It may entirely be possible that the mod author is unaware of the fact that 25 unlock slots is the total maximum number of unlock slots you can have, but this is a weird focus tree if it allows you to get more than 25 slots on something. Now normally, in vanilla Hoi 4, the way that this is done is there's a check. If province already has 25 out of 25 building slots, then adjacent province, and check those provinces. And if those provinces are already full, then the ones adjacent to them, then the ones adjacent to them. And you'll see this mostly with reference to infrastructure events and infrastructure focuses in vanilla Hoi 4. You'll see that be applied more often. So note to mod author, shit's broke. But it's been long enough since they put out this version of the mod that it may have been fixed by now. Hopefully has been fixed by now. The courtyard problem has been troubling us for generations. for its citizens have been treated like second class all the while. The choice to integrate them into the city proper, proclaiming them a literal but slightly superior second class, should placate them for a time. Alright. So what I really want here... Hello to... Do we have enough power armor? No. Of course we don't have enough power armor. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just wait. I'm not fabricating on them, right? Good, 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 good. It's very permissible. There's a fuck ton of changes done by this mod. A few grammatical errors, a few coding errors, and there were a lot more coding errors that have been patched since the initial alpha release of this on the Steam Workshop. They've done a good amount of work. This is a very, very ambitious project. The small things like that, they happen. It's not a big deal. It's not like, oh my god, how could you do this? It's just like, hey, may want to check this. Just maybe. Yeah, the game is, this mod in particular, is in a very awkward position when it comes to manpower. And I was complaining about this earlier, but you can't have a Hearts of Iron mod or game that doesn't have thousands of people. But the setting, not all of these have thousands of people. And certainly not in such quantities that they can be mobilized, militarized, and utilized as standing armies. Not all of them, anyway. Some of them, definitely, but not all of them. Holy shit, Arroyo's attacking something. Never mind, Umbra's attacking Arroyo. I haven't tried out any of the submods for this, honestly. I've been slowly and patiently making my way through all of the existing focus tree having factions in the game. I know there's some cool submods for New Reno, for making the Enclave that flesh that out better. Yeah, everything uses less, this is true, but it's still kind of hard to believe. Service for citizenship. Our greatest ability to call the common masses to arms is a promise of citizenship within the immaculate walls of Vault City for them and their families in the future. Citizens serve, more population. Oh, take a look. I haven't gotten to the point where I've wanted to look at submods, but it's getting to be about that point. I've been hoping, month after month, that like maybe they'll put out the new update this month. Maybe it'll be this month, and just keeps on getting pushed back. Understandably, because there's a lot of new content in the update. I don't mean to just be complaining, but submods are probably a good way to bridge the gap, so to speak. Chief of Navy, Chief of Air Force. None of you are any good. I guess we just sit on the political power then. Yeah, I'd love to see decisions get impacted. Maybe since... Oh, there you are, Brotherhood of Steel. My money's on the NCR here, just because... Wow, your manpower's really not overwhelming right now, but your numbers kind of are. Yeah, I think what I want is a strategy game built around the IP. I want a post-apocalyptic It really wouldn't be grand strategy at that point, but maybe grand strategy game. I would really love to see a team take a stab at that. Safety of Vault City remains an absolute priority. It's the duty of the Council to maintain that safety. I know that these divisions don't actually represent, what, 150 people? Because that's absurd. That would mean that the New California Republic is, with a population of 700,000, they're currently fielding, what, like 3 or 4% of their population in their military, which is fucking unprecedented. Like, largest military by, oh my god. What is the phrase? By per capita. There we go. Per capita is the thing I was trying to remember. Capita. So, well, I mean, I guess there is a precedent. Looking at North Korea. North Korea is per 1,000 people, 57.59 are in the military, though that's dated to 2005. Next up is Eritrea in North Africa, 45.9 out of 1,000. So, okay. It's feasible that what? Even 57.59 out of 1,000 is what? 58? 17%? Yeah, that is pretty big. Wait, I did that backward, didn't I? Yeah, never mind. That's 5.7%. It's still fucking tiny, but 5.7% is, yeah, per capita is exactly what I was thinking of. 5.7% is a joke in this game. Our recruitable population is 17.2%. That's fucking crazy! Even in World War II, that would be crazy. But the game would be very, very boring in a post-apocalyptic setting if you actually kept it 5%, 7%, even 10% being like absolute maximum that a society could really maintain, because then the armies you would have would be incredibly few and far between. Yeah, but 5% is pretty average for a major war. Absolutely right. A major war between industrialized nations with infrastructure and established economies and production chains and with modern nation-style governments, which none of these have. New California Republic kind of has that. Caesar's Legion kind of has that, but it's a major problem I have with this mod, but it's something that I don't think is fixable. I think you just kind of have to suspend disbelief there, because I don't see a way to make Hearts of Iron 4 work with Fallout entirely perfectly. Yeah, NCR is semi-industrialized. Yeah, but the New California Republic is more than a republic. It's a series of city-states, more accurately. It's a series of city-states like Shady Sands and the Boneyard down here and Dayglow. Their ability to even occupy Baja California was laughable. They're industrialized, but they are not... God damn it, I forgot the word again. They are not standardized. They... it's mentioned in Fallout 2 and again in New Vegas that a major problem of the New California Republic's army, even the Rangers, is the lack of standardization when it comes to ammunition and firearms. So even though they have a lot of guns, every person... Yeah. And the attempt to revise that, or address that, was the service rifle, not surface rifle. Yeah. I think with, in exception to what I've talked about is the Mojave Brotherhood and the Brotherhood of Steel. When we're talking about heavily martial militarized societies, the Brotherhood of Steel is the remnant of the United States military, or a portion of the United States military that survived the war. So it totally makes sense for them to be like, yo, okay, everybody picks up a gun, even scribes have to fight sometimes, and the entirety of our civilization is based around the acquisition of military hardware, the isolation of our resources to maintain our ability to supply our troops, and keeping very tight, very close logistic chains. Yeah, and that's the reason, like you're saying, that Caesar's Legion in the canon have giant hordes of people. They just give them spears. With slave labor and a non-industrialized society, that primarily depends on hunting and gathering and scavenging as a means of getting food, you can take, for short periods of time, and only short periods of time, you can take a huge swath of the population and press it into service. But once you start becoming an agrarian society, an agricultural society, and you are tied to the land, a certain portion of your population and a non-insignificant portion of your population need to work that land. Even if we're talking medieval societies, for every knight in shining armor, for every lord or baron or fucking just squire, you needed about a population of 150 to support one. Just one. And there's really, really good papers out there that explore this. So still, it's only like 1% of your population can actually be a standing army. Now, that didn't stop people from using peasant armies and from recruiting them, but that was only for rare exceptions. Because if you do that for too long, your people can't fucking eat, and you no longer have a country to fight for, right? It's a fascinating topic, and it's varied over time and by different civilizations and societies how much of a population is really required to project strength. Yeah. I mean, even in Rome, or let's take Switzerland for example, where everybody has to join the military. At any given point, if you have to serve 4 years or 6 years or even 8 years, the majority of the population will not be serving in the armed forces. Yeah, Rome was really interesting in how it handled citizenship, in that, like, the vast majority of the people in the Roman Empire were not proper Roman citizens. Were not Romans, even. They were sort of Romans, but the only Romans were really those in and around Rome. The Greeks were not true Romans. The Anatolians were not true Romans, etc., etc. They sort of were, but there were still cultural schisms and differences. But it was such an effective imperial power that it didn't really matter. Like, a very, very good example of a very small population projecting force against a much larger population very effectively is if you look at Manchuria, if you look at Mongolia, and look at the relationship those nomadic peoples had with China, with the massively larger foe. And then, for very short periods of time, you can conquer people you have no right conquering, but it is very short periods of time in the grand scheme of things. You are not setting up lasting empires that way. Which, to be fair, in the context of this game, we're not. God, I keep pausing and going to this menu because I want there to be something to spend political power on, but all of these fucking suck. I don't want fortification engineer. I don't care about aircraft. I don't want a ship designer. frankly, I don't think aircraft should be in this game except for the rare exceptions of the Enclave, maybe the NCR, and the Brotherhood of Steel being able to have vertibirds, and only then very few vertibirds. So I hate this. Fucking hate the boats are in this game. They're not, ugh. And armor, just cut these. Yeah. No, nothing to do. Just unpause and let it go, Alex. Like, in a society where water is hyper valuable, is a commodity, there's no way that you're fielding an army of tens of thousands, or even thousands. No fucking way. You need things like food and water to be cheap enough to export. You need to be able to set up reliable supply chains that won't be raided because it's a hyper valuable resource. You need to have these things be preservable. You need a lot of things that just don't make sense. Well, you know, a lot of what we know about Rome is based entirely about what they wrote about themselves and what their neighbors wrote about them. It's pretty astonishing how little we know about day-to-day life in non-Roman peoples. Like, a lot of the... it's the equivalent of if we were looking back 2,000 years after the height of the British Empire, and 90% of the records we had about the British Empire were from the British Empire. And not just from the British Empire, but were from England. Specifically England. Not even the United Kingdom, but England. You can understand how we might have a slightly skewed understanding of what life in the Empire and the culture of the Empire was actually like. And it's not quite that severe, but it's kind of that severe. That's the problem with that's the problem with civilizations that are far enough back that many records and libraries have been burned and destroyed and rewritten. And I don't just mean Library of Alexandria, which every history student will have a hard-on for it at some point, and I definitely did at some point. But you know, you also have things like Baghdad having its beautiful, awesome libraries burned and thrown in the Tigris? Was it the Euphrates? Fuck, I think it was the Euphrates. But it's very easy, the longer that history goes, for us to have such a small segment of what was actually written and thought about at the time, that our worldview of the past becomes very unintentionally twisted. But the vast majority of urban populations, yeah, we know a lot about the daily lives of urban populations in Rome. Yeah, because urban populations that were literate, that we know of and have records for. But at the same time, there are populations in Rome, especially near the early Republic, that we know fucking nothing about, because the Romans very intentionally destroyed records about, like, the Etruscans, for example. There was some very intentional, you know, in modern day we call it whitewashing, but, you know, marble washing going on back then. It's been an hour. I'm gonna put in a cut here. I'm gonna keep streaming, but if you're watching this on YouTube, stop by again tomorrow. Right now, I know it's kind of slow and boring. We're waiting for our armies to get outfitted with power armor, and then we'll start pushing again. YouTube, make sure to comment, share, like, subscribe, stop by again tomorrow. You know the deal. I'll see you later, YouTube. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.